Hello, everybody. Just give me a sec. We'll be starting soon. We still got a little bit more time. Got to set up the VTuber or PNG tuber, not VTuber. There we go. Nice, nice. How's everybody doing? I know I'm the streamer, right? Dang, Josh is the streamer. Hello, people. People are slowly coming in, joining the stream. Hello, everybody. What flavor? Like, what's my flavor of coffee? I mean, it's just regular coffee flavor. Nothing fancy or anything. Just regular coffee flavor. Alright. Let's make it big. Brush on sheet day. A Folger. How do you know it was Folgers? Kevin. Wow. Kevin secretly lives in my attic. Comes down at night to steal my coffee. Have you seen those videos? You know, where the people are who live in people's houses in their attics, and then they come down at night, take people's food. That was crazy. Yeah, he lives in my walls. Yeah. Fashionable faint. You're playing back twice, but that might be me. Oh, am I? Yeah, let me know if there's any audio issues, but I'm pretty sure my settings are the same. Yeah. I like coffee and milk, that's it. Oh, you mean like what's... Oh, I realized it's because my my mic is like really far away. Forgot to put my mic in front of me. That's jokes. What's in my coffee? I guess it's just cream. I put a little bit of cream. I put a little bit of milk and just one, not full tablespoon because that's a lot of sugar, but a little bit of sugar on the big spoon, you know, like a metal spoon. I feel like I should measure out my like the ingredients I put into my coffee because it's always so inconsistent, but we'll see. I'm too lazy to measure it out, you know. Please do measure it out. No, that's too much work. Measuring out like, oh, this amount of coffee should have like this amount of cream, this amount of sugar. We all need to know. So I'm the guinea pig. No, but you know, like it's all about eyeballing, you know. Who is Husk? Is Husk like a person? Is it a character? And no, I do not know Colombian either. Anybody got actually good coffee recommendations? But it can't be too expensive, you know. I feel like there's no way around it though. It's like if you want good coffee, it's gonna be expensive. So Husk is a character. Ah, I see. Ping me, but I can't see your emote. Thing. Make a YouTube channel about it. About coffee? I'd be the worst because I'm just like, I'm not a coffee fanatic. I know nothing about coffee. So it'll literally be like the average Joe making a cup of Joe. You drink black. I drink black like every now and then if I'm like, oh, I should be healthy and not put any sugar and cream in it. Oh, cinnamon. You know what? That sounds pretty good actually. That's not a bad idea. Try Colombian coffee? Okay, maybe I'll keep an eye out for it. But I just know, like, man, coffee can get pretty pricey. Oh, everybody's concurring with okay, not everybody, but someone else backs up your claim of putting cinnamon in coffee. Okay. You're on your lunch break. Oh, okay. Black coffee is his healthy. Oh shit. Yeah, I mean, you know, it is what it is, you know. It's the best I can do. Okay, we are going to start soon. Just give me a sec. And, we'll be beginning shortly. And hopefully you guys can see on my screen that I have cleaned up Nils' design just a little bit. Adding coffee to his favorite foods along. I mean, I wouldn't consider coffee my favorite food. I would just say that it is a thing built into my living habits. Are they a food? Yeah, yeah, exactly. Coffee is, I mean, it's a consumable, you know, a thing that sustains his life force. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Although sometimes I don't even know if it does anything. I only feel it when I chugged one time 6 cups of coffee, or not 6 cups, but like when you brew it like up to the 6 number. I didn't have 6 like McDonald cups of coffee. I brewed 6 cups of coffee and I chugged it. That was a bad idea. That was not that was not good. Is it addictive? I have heard of that. I don't think I get any withdrawals, so yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Water hungry? Do you ever get thirsty? Yeah, if you do sports, I get thirsty. Okay, well, I love the conversation about coffee, but we will get started. As I was kind of mentioning a little bit before, I did kind of refine a little bit more of Nils' design. This is kind of what we did from the last stream, but I was like, he looks too friendly. He looks too nice, so I edgied him up a little bit. I made him a bit more edgy. So I went back to a bit more of my own personal style because I looked at the ways that I draw characters. So I'll just bring some here. This was done during like animation camp, and then this was done during animation class, I believe. Yeah, mentorship, and then this was done during like drawing and painting. And I was like looking at my drawings, and I was like, this is my more go-to style. This is more of like how I just typically draw, more angular, more sharper. So I was like, okay, I should just go back and just draw how I am more comfortable in drawing. So I had this on my other monitor as I was cleaning up Nils' design. I just had images, it sounds weird, to remind me of how I should draw for myself. In the sense of like, this is how I typically draw, so I should just stick with it instead of trying to wing a new style that I'm not too familiar with. So we're going back to a more, not realistic, but just slightly bit more realistic look for him. The other thing too was I checked the age, and I think we said he was 15, and I thought about it. I'm like, oh, boys at 15 are pretty much like, they, not that they look adult, but they don't look too much like a kid. So I gave myself the leeway to make him look a little bit older than I think I kind of like made him look in the original stream, where I was like, oh, I'll make him look a bit younger so that we know he's a kid. But if he's 15, 15's kind of like, that's like what, grade 10 going on, like, yeah, that's like grade 10. So I like, you know what, we'll age him up a little bit, bring that Tokyo Revengers vibe to it, you know. So yeah, we're going more for that vibe rather than the more, you know, yeah, like, he looks too baby, he looks too innocent in the younger one. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, you don't drink, I'll just catch up with chat. You love how clean he looks. Well, we'll see. I mean, I still haven't cleaned it up technically. Like, I drew this before stream, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. Do you ever get? I read that art time. Yeah, tea's pretty cool too. I do like tea too. Yeah, I got withdrawal once. I was dying. I've heard of it. Coffee withdrawal. I don't know. I can skip like, I think a full week of no coffee and it doesn't bother me. So yeah, we'll see. We love edgy in this household. Yes, I also prefer more edgy. I think that's just more my style too. The older art is sick. Thank you, thank you. Plays with style when you have more time on your hands. Wow, who is this Josh? Imposter. Yeah. Love playing around with style. Much too innocent. He's seen some ghosts. Yeah, exactly. You'll know he is 15 once he speaks. Oh, you know what? That's true too. Like how they talk. Yeah. Your drip in the VTuber. Oh, thank you. I mean, it's just like a what am I wearing? What did I give myself? I mean, it's just a long sleeve crew neck shirt. I think got bags under his eyes. Yeah, he's seen some ghosts. Okay, so before we like kick it off and officially start, you guys know how it is. We gotta do a little bit of the intro, do the housekeeping. So hello and welcome to our stream, everybody. Glad you could all make it. We got a good one for you today, or well, I mean like me. I've got a good one for you today. We're doing an expression sheet, so this should be fun. And I actually haven't taken a look at the polls just yet, so it's gonna be exciting. We can look at it together, see which expression we're gonna draw. I'll be surprised. I don't know which you guys voted for. But if you don't know who we are Wing Canvas, a YouTube channel where we make art tutorial videos on tips, tricks, and drawing advice to better help our fellow art nerds in this art community of ours. Our mission at Wing Canvas is to make art education easily accessible to everyone, so be sure to tune in live for free lessons every Saturday and Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're an art nerd too, be sure to check out just give me a sec. I realize I do not have the thingies flying around, the widgets. Okay, yeah. If you're an art nerd too, be sure to check out our links to our social media in the description below and check out our website for class offerings where you can get critiques, guidance, and encouragement from our instructors, because we're not just a YouTube channel, we're a school of illustration. And I want to personally thank our incredible Patreon and YouTube members who support us in making free art education content. Members get access to a lot of perks, like exclusive chats with our creators, weekly live critiques on Discord, and class recordings, digital artworking files from our stream, and discounts on live programs that we have. And they're limited in spots as well, so be sure to check them out before it all kind of gets filled up. So if you want to help support the channel or accelerate your learning, consider becoming a member. Yeah. And before we continue, we got one more thing. Again, we'd like to thank our sponsor for the stream, XP Pen, who have an awesome selection of digital art tablets for both beginner and advanced artists. If you're looking for an affordable and reliable digital tablet, go browse their store. You'll find the link in the description of this video. So again, thank you XP Pen for sponsoring the video. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So there we go. That's like our little housekeeping, little rigmarole. The perks are worth it. Oh, thank you, Jaw Redstone. Thanks for the words of affirmation of the perks. Yeah. Accelerate your learning. Our learning. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Take a look at the tablet. Yeah. Honestly, a screen tablet, or I mean. Yeah, I guess like screen tablets can be a little pricey, but if you can get it, I do say it's definitely really worth it to have a screen tablet. It just makes drawing so much easier. But yeah, so today we are going to be doing an expression sheet, and as you can see, we're going to be continuing in our animation series. Wait, what am I allowed to say? Oh. Yeah, I'm gonna get a new tablet, so that's gonna be cool. We'll be able to check it out and see how it goes. Yeah, so we're doing an expression sheet, and right now, because before the stream ended, all I got done was just the 3/4 pose and angle for Nils, and I was like, the face is fine, it works, but it didn't quite feel quite right. So right before stream, I drew more of like his basic face angles, so changed up the 3/4 angle again. Drew this more attitude induced face, did a profile view just to get a sense of like maybe what his hair would be looking like at this angle and the overall style in this angle, and then the front view angle. So, but these are all expressionless. These are more of like a standard just neutral face. So now we're going to be doing some expressions and some emotions, and you guys voted for it, so I'm gonna check out who won. who won the polls. So I'm gonna take a real quick look at it. So if you guys don't know, every week, for our streams, usually we will post a community post for our streams, and sometimes it'll come with a poll if there's like an option to vote for things. If there's not, it'll just be like an image. But for this week, there was a poll, and I wanted you guys to tell me which expression you would like for me to draw during the stream. So let's see. Aloof, okay. I feel like I already drew Aloof in the one with attitude, but we'll draw it again. And then Disgusted. You know, I'm kind of surprised Disgusted did not win. So I did say the top two expressions are the ones we'll draw. And then if we have enough time, we will draw some more expressions as well and clean them up. And you guys get a vote. So you guys in the chat can let me know what you'd like me to draw in terms of the expressions. We don't have to stick with the ones on the screen. We can draw some different ones. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. And here we just made a post about my character design intensive. So if you guys didn't know, we are doing a character design intensive for the next 2 weeks starting tomorrow. And so if you guys are interested in that, be sure to sign up. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff just like this, designing characters, doing some expressions, all that kind of stuff. And before we start officially, I do want to show what I have on my monitor as a little bit of like inspiration. So some students made known to my, or brought to my attention, that was a weird way of putting it, that there's this software called PureRef. And they're like, oh yeah, it's a thing that you can just like drop and drag images to. And it's like, I think it's like pay what you're willing to pay. I think you can get it for free, but they kind of go like, oh, you know, just pay whatever you feel like you want to pay. So it's a great kind of very simple, straightforward software where you click and drag images. You don't even have to download it. And you can just drop it into like this window and it'll immediately just put it here, and then you can click and drag it, move it wherever you want it to be. So I was like, oh sweet, okay, this is kind of neat. Not only that, but we can pin it so that it's always on top. So you'll see here that even if I click my Krita software, it won't like move or remove the PureRef. So I'm gonna be using this just a little bit, just so I have a little bit of like inspiration and reference to use. Because there's nothing on the other side of my like Krita, like everything's on my right side, so I could just leave the PureRef window over here. And yes, I am using the Stranger Things kids as a bit of reference. They're gonna be my inspiration for, I guess, a younger demographic. I guess I don't usually draw kids, so I was like, let me find some references for what kids look like, I guess. And then I also got Kippo because I really like the art style in Kippo. I'm obviously not going to copy Kippo, but I really like the angular kind of approach and simplified style to it. So I'm going to use that as a little bit of inspiration for how we're drawing things. So yeah, just wanted to kind of point out like this is how I'm going to be drawing and how I'm laying out my my monitor or my screen. Yeah, it's called PureRef. Yeah, yeah, you can enter $0 and use it for free. Yeah, so I was like, you know what, you know, I like, it seems like they're pretty chill. I gave them, I paid for it. I paid for PureRef, but yeah, it is pay what you want kind of thing. Okay, cool. I realized I didn't do the community art challenge shout out yet, but I think maybe I'll do that at the end. I'll do that at the end of stream, maybe like 10 minutes before we end, kind of deal. Okay, so now that we have everything kind of broken down and laid out as to like how it's working, what we're doing, time to draw. Now before we start drawing, I'm gonna kind of go over what I like to do when it comes to expressions, and that is to figure out the mannequin head shape. So this is kind of why I wanted to also do this breakdown here first, like draw these more neutral expressions, and faces for Nils. And then after that, then I can add the expressions because it's easier this way. Now I have something to work off of. I have something to build off of. So what do I mean by mannequin head? A lot of the times when you first start drawing, you guys are used to maybe like draw a circle and then you draw the middle line and then you draw the shape of the face and all the eye line and all that kind of stuff. So that's like the typical approach, and that's pretty much what the mannequin head is. But when I do the mannequin head, I like to focus on a little bit more of like structure. So we'll call this the mannequin head. If you guys aren't clear as to like what I'm trying to get across, I'm trying to show that in order to do expressions, especially really dynamic expressions, it's always best to understand the structure and the volume of the head. This way you can stretch and squash and really distort the face while still feeling like your drawing is somewhat grounded. You have something to kind of build off of. So for the mannequin head, sorry, I got itchy. I do like to start with a circle. And for the circle, I would say that you don't have to make it like it doesn't have to be perfect. We're human. Our circles are not going to look perfect. They're not going to look great. But try to draw it as best as you can. Because the better circle you have, the better you're going to be able to build off of your, like the lines, like the guidelines that you'll need. Like the center line, the eye line, all that kind of stuff. You'll be able to build off of better with a cleaner circle. If you draw something like this, or if you draw something like a bean shape, then it's hard to figure out like where's the center line and what angle is this head facing in. But with a circle, the cleaner it is, the easier it'll be for you to gauge the angle that it's pointing in. So this is why I like to start with a circle. So the mannequin head is as it sounds. It's to look like a mannequin. So I don't know if people still go out to the mall anymore, but if you go into the storefront and you see the mannequins, they usually have a flat, actually maybe I'll change brush. They usually have a very flat kind of head. So their head kind of looks like this, almost a little bit like a crash dummy head. I also don't know if people know what a crash dummy is anymore. But if you guys had Discovery Channel and you watched like Mythbusters, I guess you might know what a crash dummy is. But so you'll notice like this is a mannequin head. It's meant to be very clean. It's meant to be very flat. No like really distinct features. Everything's kind of smooth. And the reason why is that it keeps it so that it's simple, and then we can build off of it much better. And then after that, before we start building features, we can then define things like the center line, where the center of the head is. And then in this case, I like to look for the brow line. So the brow line is what I like to use. There is no necessarily like right or wrong to a certain degree. Some people might find that the what was I gonna say, this the eye line might be easier to gauge. I like to use the brow line as this is more inspired by like the Loomis head, and by having the brow line you can figure out the side plane of the head. So the side plane of the head, this is kind of like the flat side of our skull, our temple. And now we have the brow line going across in the center horizontally, and then we have a vertical line that represents kind of like the angle. And this is, I would say, try to figure this out. Try to get this mastered for when you're learning how to really master faces or just drawing any character in general. And the reason why is because once you get into other angles, this makes it so much easier to map out facial features for. So if you want to start venturing into upper angles, it goes like this, and you go like that, and it's like, oh, well, if I've got a nice sphere over here, and if I follow the logic of a three-dimensional voluminous sphere, then when a head turns up, this horizontal brow line is also going to turn up and wrap around the ball. And then I can follow this vertical line and use that to guide my face plane for when I draw the front face. Now, obviously, it's more complicated than that because our faces are very complex, but this helps simplify our understanding of like the head and how it moves. It obviously is like very much more complicated, but having this part over here, let me actually, like this part over here, that's like, if you can get this down, it helps solve so much of the problems of with like head angles. And so this is the mannequin head style. Like, practice doing this, drawing it in different angles, and then once you have this, we're going to be using this method for our face and expression drawing. Now, I'm not going to get into it because it's just going to take too long. We're going to focus more on how to capture expressions on our characters and how to kind of stretch and expand them. But the mannequin head is super important. It's basically the sphere. Figure out where the side plane is, which is this. Figure out where the brow line and the center line is on the mannequin head. And after that, it's basically sticking on facial features on. Or, yeah. Oh, what I realize there's a lot of people asking questions on chat. Squeaky chair. It is very squeaky. Yeah, you guys hear it? Yeah. What can the free version offer? Oh, I don't think it changes. It's just you kind of pay whatever you want to. Yeah. Yeah. What brush am I using? Yeah. So Kevin, I think answered. I'm using like a pencil brush. I'm using this one called a charcoal pencil medium. And then I'm using this one if I want something softer. And then I might use like this one or this one for more like darker, deeper inking. Yeah. That's why when I record like the audio I can't move. I have to like sit really still and like say the lines, or else it gets really squeaky. Yeah. It is annoying. Okay, so with that out of the way, I'm going to be now drawing the expressions. So what do we had? We had aloof. Okay, so I think I brought this up last time too. And let's see, aloof. Let's make sure we're all in the same. We all have the same definition. Aloof, not friendly or forthcoming, cool and distant. Okay, or uninterested. And uninvolved. So standoffish, I think, is also another way of describing the person, and I think that's what we're going to be doing. Is I'm going to draw Nils with a very aloof expression, or I'm going to try to give him an aloof expression. We'll see how well it goes. Actually, yeah, we'll draw it on a new layer here. Okay, so I'm going to kind of walk through how I would do it. Now, obviously, an aloof expression, I feel like it's going to be this one over here, but I'm going to draw it at like a 3/4 upward tilt angle. So sometimes when we're figuring out expressions, or when I'm figuring out an expression, I like to think through it. So before I even start drawing, I'll be like, okay, how would I do an aloof? Like, how would I look if I were to be aloof? And this is where like the whole acting part of it comes back. So this is again why I have a mirror in front of me. It's not, as Kevin likes to joke, I like to look at myself. No, I use it so I can make expressions in the mirror and then draw it as reference. So I will kind of put myself in the angle that I want to draw. So in this case, it's to look aloof, and I'm going to make myself look aloof and look at myself in the mirror and see what I look like. And I'm going to kind of position my head in the angle that I want. And before I even draw like Nils with all the hair and the facial features, I'm going to try to get the head angle down. He just loves himself. Yes, that is the real reason, yes. Wait, thin, is that part of regular Krita? Yeah, yeah, so every brush that I have is part of regular Krita. Does like to look at it. So I don't know, who knows. Yeah, you know, for the longest time I thought aloof meant like goofy, because it sounds like goof. So I was like, oh, aloof means you're a little like carefree and goofy, but turns out it's the complete opposite. Okay, so I'm looking up. Now, some people like to approach it in different ways. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how you go about it. For me, I like to draw the shape of the face first. So I'm looking at myself, and I'm going to be looking up a little bit, and it's a little bit of a 3/4, so it's like maybe like this. We're basically going to draw this angle, or this face that I drew up here, but in a different angle. Now, I will say, if you're like not too familiar with drawing faces, and you still have like issues drawing like a regular head, or you're still having like trouble understanding how the face is formed and the different shapes that are on the face, I would say try to avoid upward angles like this for now. Try to stick with just like neutral head angles. So this is a neutral head angle, this is a neutral head angle, this is a neutral head angle. And what's neutral about these is that they are not looking up or down. When we look up or down, our faces tend to get distorted, and there's foreshortening happening no matter how little there is. And foreshortening makes it like really hard, and it makes it tricky. So yeah. So as you can see, I'm using the mannequin head approach to break down everything that I'm seeing on my own face. And it's not going to be perfect, because Nils' style, like the style that I've drawn Nils in, is stylized, and it's definitely more exaggerated and more lenient with the proportions. So you want to keep that in mind as well when you're drawing faces, is that it's not going to be pinpoint perfect like it is in when you're drawing like a realistic study or a realistic face. It's going to be stylized. And like my proportions are different too. Like I'm giving Nils a thinner neck because, you know, he's a bit younger. And we're going to push the proportions a little bit too as well. And I'm just going to mark down what we call here the eye mask. The eye mask I find useful is because it allows us to gauge roughly where the eyes and the brows, like that distance, the relative distance that it takes up is, and whether how much it's shrinking and how much it's kind of expanding, and where our nose is going to be. So our nose tends to be right underneath this eye mask. So if I'm indicating that the eye mask is here, then the nose is probably going to be somewhere here, probably. I'm just going to mark it with a triangle for like the bottom of the nose. And then with the mouth, you know, he's given a little bit of an attitude. So I'm gonna push that lip up a bit. And we do exercises like these as well in the character design summer camp. But we do it with the more basic expressions. And then after that, we kind of let the students go off to try out other expressions. So more complex or more ambiguous expressions, kind of like the one that I'm doing here. But we like to usually start off with like happy, sad, angry, to warm up and loosen up how we draw. so that we can kind of start figuring out and explore our character and how it will look before we get into more complex emotions. Every time I say emotion, I want to say it like the what's that? Uncle Roger, the emotional damage guy. It's so bad, you know. I don't have charcoal pencil medium thin. Really interesting. I mean, like if you go to all, it's not there. I think it's like let me see. It should be like a sketch. Like if you go to brush preset, like this window here, it should be under like sketch. I don't know, maybe it's, I don't know, maybe they've updated their brush library, but I'm using this one over here. Or maybe they just changed the name of it, but the texture of it, like you can see it over there, like it has a little bit of graininess to it, and it has a little bit of texture break in the outline of the brush texture. So what I mean by that is, like, if you go to a synthetic brush, you see how the edges of the brush stroke is clean and it's all connected. But if you go to like a more textured brush, it breaks up the edges. So that's what I like about texture brushes, and that's why I picked this one when I was like figuring out which brush to use as my go-to. Yeah. You just have the charcoal medium? Oh, you just have like this one? Or wait. Oh, that's interesting. Charcoal medium. Oh. Oh. So I actually edited it. So it's called, so this is the default brush, charcoal pencil medium. This is one that I made myself. So I adjusted it and I duplicated it so that I can keep the default, but then I can always go back to the one that I made myself. Yeah. So that's why you see duplicates. This is probably the default brush. This is one that I made for myself, that I adjusted and tweaked. And you can always do that over here. If you want to adjust the brush settings, you click edit brush setting, that's like up here near the swatches, and you can play around with them. You can like save a new brush. So if you click save new brush, it will save it as a new brush, obviously, but with your own new settings. Yeah. What did I change? I think I changed things like the opacity and the brush size. So like how hard I press down on the brush changes how much of the opacity moves around. But I believe it's thin. Yeah. You love that Steven? Is that his name? I actually don't watch him too much. I just know the emotional damage line from him. Yeah. Good. Yeah, good expressions do help make your art stand out, and I think it's part of what brings your character to the life, because like when you look at expressions like this, and like when you look at it like this and these ones, they're kind of just standard, they're kind of just bland. But once you add like an expression and different angles and poses to them, it kind of does breathe a little bit of life into your characters, and it makes your characters and your art stand out more as well. It becomes a person rather than just the drawing. So yeah, I do love starting to add expressions to the drawings. And so yeah, we're going back to the drawing. So you'll see that I've drawn the eye line over here. Oops. So you see that I've drawn the eye line here and the eye mask. So this is the brow, and then this is the cheekbone actually. So this is cheekbone, and this brow. And then I put the eye line right in the middle. And so this gives me a general idea as to where things should be in terms of like spacing. And that's kind of like the room that I've given myself to play around with in terms of where the facial features can be. Now, obviously Nils and I have different eye shapes, so I'm going to try to use my own eyes as a general placement of where eyes should be, but I'm not gonna like stick to it. I'm not gonna be like, oh, it has to be there. It has to be in this shape or anything, because we have different eye shapes, and I don't want to make my characters all look like me, because then that's kind of odd, or at least I think that's kind of odd. But I'm still trying to also be a little bit rough as well, because I want to be able to adjust it, be able to make changes to it, but just kind of roughly block out where things should be when it comes to like the eye shape and everything. I like to feel out, so like that's why you'll see me like draw and erase, and it's because I'm at this rough stage. What I'm trying to do is not necessarily get the details, even though it looks like I'm just drawing the details. What I'm really trying to do is get a feel for how it looks, like overall, like the amount of space things are taking up and everything. So it's okay to be messy. I like to draw really messy. I like to be really rough and textured with the way I draw. If you guys have ever seen my drawings before, or like some of my class demos, you might notice that I like to draw very, very texturally, very messily. That's just how I like to do things. I don't know. It's very freeing, in my opinion, because it kind of loosens you up. It allows you to be a little bit more okay with the mistakes you make, and I make a lot of mistakes, so. Yeah. Josh syndrome. Everyone makes all your characters look like Josh for now. Yeah. You love exaggerated expression so much. Yeah, I love it too. I will say though, like the more you draw though, try to be more intentional. I'm not saying this in a way to like reprimand or correct, but I feel like after a while, if you draw too many exaggerated expressions, it kind of feels like everybody's too exaggerated. So I would say keep it in line with who the character is. Don't just draw an exaggerated expression for the sake of having an exaggerated expression, but draw it so that it works with the character. If you ever take a look at character design sheets from like movies, you'll see that the expressions are exaggerated, but they work with the character that it's in reference to. Also, he's looking up, so the lower lid is going to be a bit more flatter, rather than rounder. Oh yeah, I saw in the chat someone was like, "This guy has an insane hairline." That's where the exaggerated part comes in, where I can just kind of go a little bit more, uh, exaggerated with the hairline, and that's actually an inspiration from like older anime. If anybody ever watches like old school anime from like the 80s and 90s, I like noticed when doing like a style study of them that a lot of them have very close and tight hairlines, and I thought that was like really neat and really interesting. And even though it's very odd once you start thinking about the logistics of it, I was like, it kind of works, or at least I think it works, and it creates this really cool aesthetic with them. Did I miss something? Hello, garlic noodles. We kind of just started, in a way. I mean, well, not really. It's 3:40, but I'm doing the first expression right now, and I'm almost done this one, so we're probably gonna move on to the other one, and then we'll clean them up after I have both of them drawn. Yeah. Bleach Renji hairline is like way up there. Like if you think about Renji's hairline, he has that goggles and he has that bandana, and then his hairline starts, which means he's like halfway bald, which is crazy. It's like if you think too much about it, you're like, wait, hold up a sec. That's way too high of a hairline of a hairline. But yeah, that like if you think about a lot of anime hairlines, they are all very kind of um they don't make sense if you like actually draw them out and like think about them. You're like, hold on a sec, this guy's like straight up balding, or this guy has like a hairline like 2 inches away from his eyebrows. That doesn't make any sense. But I don't know, that's just the anime logic right there. And I am borrowing some anime hair logic for our characters here. On the hairline, you'll notice that I kind of erased the circle for the side plane, but I usually like this part of the hair. I like this part that I'm kind of thickening up. This part, I like it to match up with that circle because it helps define the angle that we're drawing it in, and it sells the kind of dimension of the person's head a bit more. I'm just gonna flip it just to see if it actually looks the way I think it looks. Yeah, it's a little bit crazy how much I ended up aging up Nils in this drawing. Because in the original stream, he was looking way too young. But now I'm like, he looks a bit too old. But you know what? It's fine. He still has a bit of a kid, or not like a kid, but like he doesn't look like an adult, you know. But it is kind of funny how we started with the transition. The transition goes crazy. You haven't seen the Ultimate Widow's Peak. Yeah, you haven't seen that until you look at Renji's hairline. Like Cowboy Bebop? Ah, yes. Someone has figured out where the inspiration's from. Yeah, it's Faye. If you ever look at Faye's hairline, and you think about it, you're like, wait, hold up. Why is her hairline like all the way like down right underneath, like right on top of her eyebrows? It doesn't really make much sense. I'm gonna move the ear just up slightly. I mean, 15, you know, like you're gonna start looking a little old. Anime tends to be horribly disproportionate. Yeah, like, I mean, that goes true with any kind of cartooning as well. Like, if you pay attention too much to the proportions of any stylized cartoon, you'll start realizing that they cheat a lot. Like, heck, we can kind of even take a look at Kipo as an example, maybe. I don't know if Kipo, well, Kipo does cheat a lot, too. Like, here, we'll expand this out a bit. This is the model sheet for Kipo, and I mean, like, yeah, this is massive on the face, and you'll notice that they have to kind of keep that consistency. Like, her nose to mouth distance is huge. That's massive. And the ear, like, they're not following the ear the placement as well, but that's kind of like where anime and cartooning can cheat, is that if you make the eyes absolutely huge, you can get away with the ear feeling like it's really close. Like, if you look at this so-called 3/4 angle over here, this ear is super close to the eye. But if you ever look at your own face, and even if you just turn your head, like, not even too much, but just subtly to a 3/4, or like the start of a 3/4, you'll notice that your ear and then the corner of your eye has a huge distance between them. But in a lot of cartoons, they skip that kind of distance right there. They make it really close. But the only reason why they're able to cheat that is because the eyes are so big that you kind of go along with that suspension of disbelief and stylization in it. Yeah. So, yeah, just wanted to. I find it absolutely like just fascinating, and this is why I love doing style studies and style breakdowns, because you kind of start learning all these like rules, or not rules, but certain cheats that artists use that maybe like they won't like mention, not because it's wrong or anything, but like it's just like maybe it's part of their style, it's part of like what's natural to them. But I think it's like really cool to kind of pay attention to like how they might be cheating. Or okay, I say cheating, but when I say cheating, it just means like they're breaking the rules a little bit to play towards their advantage. Yeah. You looked around 6 years older. Yeah, I think I made it too young now. Yeah, exactly. So at the end of the day, that's why I like drawing roughly, because when you draw roughly, you don't really care too much about like the nitty gritties about of like all those details and the technicalities of things. You just kind of go like, okay, what feels right? Like what feels like it's working? What feels good about like the drawing that I'm making? And that's kind of the kind of is all that really matters when it comes to like designing a character. Learn the rules so you can learn how to break them. Exactly. Like it's such a repeated line, but it really is like how you end up growing and developing your look, kind of. Give me big eyes. Yeah. Okay, so we got Aloof. This is gonna be our Aloof expression. And then I'm gonna do the rough for, what was the other one? It was Disgusted. Oh boy, this is gonna this is gonna be a hard one. I'll discuss here. You know what? I'm gonna look for it. Disgusted face. Disgusted face. Dang it! Now all I can think of is the brother ew. Look. This one's pretty good actually. I kind of like this one. This is pretty, this is pretty good. I don't know which one. You know, this one's pretty good. It's definitely relying on the hands. Oh man. Or like this one. Ooh. Stop staring at me with those eyes. What's that, brother? Ew. Brother, ew. Yeah. That's a little bit too calm. This one, I kind of want to do this one, but I'm like, man, this one's gonna be hard. Oh my god. All these faces. Epicness, yeah. I didn't realize, you know, Disgusted is a little bit, it's gonna be kind of hard. Let's see, which one do I want to go with though? This one's not too bad. This one may be a bit too comedic. I feel like maybe this one would be good. Maybe we'll stick with this one. Can I drag it in? Hey, look at that. It worked. Great. I don't even need to keep the Google images up. Yeah, so actually that's a great point, Jaw Redstone. So like for expressions, instead of like closely analyzing the facial features, it's actually better in a sense to look at the overall framing of the head. So I'm gonna this is actually a good way to also demonstrate how to use like a reference as a guide, not for the facial structure, but for the overall like the way it's pushed, like the facial features. and the overall like the eye mask and the brow. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rely on this one, our front facing one over here, for like the face shape. But before I start drawing like the expressions and everything, I'm going to actually lay down, let's see, where's the neck? Neck would be like maybe here. And you know what, let's make it like his head is turned a little bit. That would give it a little bit more context. Do I want it obscuring the face though? Maybe just a little bit. Not too much, but just a little bit. And the neck, you know, we'll push the hood up a little bit more, because I gave him a pretty big hood. And then we're gonna push the shoulders up so he's hunched a little bit. So expressions are not just with the face, although the face does play a big part in it. It's also the body language. How's the character posed? How are they standing? Is their head leaning forward? All these things help play into the way the expression ends up reading for your character. So don't sleep on what's happening with the body. Where are the shoulders? How high are they? How low are they? Because it plays into how the character ends up being read. Yeah. Oh yeah, actually, you know, it's looking not too bad. Yeah. She looks pretty good. That's a good face. Yeah, I think so. So we'll see how it goes. So I've got the overall head mannequin shape now. Just gonna check the mirror just to see that it looks good on both sides. I struggle the most with like front-facing angles. So we're gonna hopefully this turns out not too rough. I'm gonna change it a little bit, and I'm gonna have the ear. How did I draw the front face? Ears. Okay. I'm gonna draw the ears maybe like down here a little bit. And what I'm gonna do is just map out roughly the height, size of the head. Might have made him too big. I'm gonna shrink it down so we have enough space for that giant spiky hair of his. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna not just look at the eyebrows, but the overall way the character is pinching or scrunching up their face. So I am looking at the eyebrows, but I'm looking at the eye mask. So I'm going back to the eye mask because she's scrunching up her face. Her nose is like kind of pushing up a little bit. Her cheek muscles are pushing up, and then she's furrowing her brows. So that's what I'm gonna do as well, is I'm gonna kind of just draw the eye mask a little bit. Not a little bit, but like I'm gonna fully draw the eye mask to get an idea. And then I'm gonna mark where I think I want the nose. Mouth is gonna be the hard part, because I don't know. I feel like it's kind of working. Yeah, doing a comical cocky version fusion between two child actors. Yeah, I guess that's kind of what it is. I have a perfect face, but you already have one. What? The shoulders are just eyebrows, if you think about it. Yeah, you know, actually, that's a good way. Could I DM the image to you, Josh? Would that be fine? Yeah, I mean, you can tag me in Discord, because I'm pretty sure you're in the members chat, Jaw Redstone. So yeah, you can for sure like tag me if you want, or ping me, or whatever it is. So now that I have the overall shape of the eye mask, I'm gonna just slightly imply what the eyebrows are doing, kind of. Obviously, also she has different eyebrow shapes, you know, and the arch of her eyebrow is different, but I want to capture the essence of it. And we're gonna get like the nose. Maybe I'm gonna push one nostril. We're gonna push the other nostril, because when your face kind of compresses down this way, your nose is going to favor on the one that's tighter. So we're going to pinch the nose on the other one a little bit more. And I like this more flattened mouth. We're gonna have a dip down. So mouths are interesting where our mouths are made up of 3 pads. This is just gonna be a quick crash course on lips. These are your lips. And they're rounded like this. So this triangle bit right here is why sometimes when you see people draw mouths, they have a little bit of like this to them. They have like 3 lines, and that's because our mouth is made up of 3 pads. It's maybe not that pointy, it's probably a little bit more rounded, but it's made up of essentially 1, 2, 3 pads. And so sometimes when people simplify the mouth line or mouth shape, they simplify by using 3 kind of dashes in a way. And that's what I'm gonna do here. So you'll notice that I kind of did this like M or bird, not really an M shape, but a little bit of like a bird shape. And that's because of that little point on the lips over there. So that's what I'm gonna do. I like this kind of like pursed lips, like he's pressing his lips together or his mouth together, because it's like what that's disgusting, you know, like, or what just happened over there kind of look, you know. I'm gonna just mark where like the nose might be. Yeah, something like this. I feel like it's not too bad. His lips. I'm gonna move maybe this down, and then I'm gonna move this, shrink it, and then I'm gonna move it over a little bit, and I'm gonna take this, move it down here. Alright, now we got space again. Then we're gonna add in the hair. So let's see, how did I draw in the hair? I'm taking definitely a lot of inspiration from the hair from like Ichigo, like the way Ichigo's hair is drawn, or even the that you know, that animated, Kevin, do you know what I'm talking about? The that kung fu kids cartoon show. I think we mentioned it one time, like when I was drawing the character, where someone's like, oh, it's like that dragon cartoon. I don't know, it's like a show in like the 2000s. If anybody knows what show I'm talking about, I'm describing it horribly, but it's not it's not Avatar. It's American Dragon. Yes, that's the one I'm thinking of. I think that I'm getting a little bit of inspiration from that as well. So, you know, I'm combining a lot of things, you know, like the hairline of Faye from Cowboy Bebop, American Dragon's hairstyle. Oh no, I drew it on the wrong layer. No. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna just... Oop. Okay, nice. I should really be labeling things, but I'm like too lazy to label right now. You beat me to a dragon takes... I've never heard of all these shows. See, Josh is mortal, everybody. What? What do you mean I'm mortal? Oh, you mean like messing up on the layers? Yeah, exactly. Like even I mess up where to put my layers. Yeah. So this is a pretty good one, and then I'm gonna just quickly mark where the eyes are gonna be. So I'm gonna copy how the eye, or not copy sounds a little bit like odd nowadays with AI and everything, but what I mean is like I'm gonna take some hints, some notes as to how the eye is squinting in the like reference. So I have like somewhat of an idea. So I can see like the bottom lid kind of curves up and the upper lid is flat. So that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna have him look in the same direction as well. Just be like, ooh, it's kind of odd. Again, this is still the rough though, so I'm just trying to kind of match what's happening in the rough. but I'm probably gonna change it a little bit. Like I'm gonna still need to tweak it. It's not quite there just yet, you know. Like ooh. Like this other eye here is still pretty like it's pretty squinted still. So this is why we have character model sheets to remind us of what our character kind of looks like. It's kind of odd looking actually. I mean, oh, this is such a goofy looking face. It's like it kind of works in a way. Definitely gonna need way more, a lot of tweaking. But it looks more of like, what'd you say? I feel like it's disgusted not by ghosts, but disgusted by something somebody said. Of like, what? What'd you just say? I'm drawing animal skulls. Oh, that sounds awesome. I love drawing animal skulls, but I don't draw enough animal skulls. Like I like drawing it, but I don't draw a lot of it. Okay, so we got we got our two expressions here. We got our aloof expression and we got our slightly disgusted. I feel like this is not disgusted. This is more just like bewildered of like, what was that? It feels more like cringed, like a disgusted cringe, not a disgusted by like ghosts or something. That's true too. Yeah, there's definitely different types of disgusted. We've picked you know what? I do think the reference we picked for disgusted is more of like a, oh, what'd you, that looks weird, or like, oh, that looks kind of like, or like you said something weird kind of look. So so yeah, that is fascinating. Okay, so I think instead, actually, I'm gonna take a break from drawing. So now that we have it, I'm going to clean up these images over here. I might clean up actually all of these. But before we continue, I'm going to actually do our little community art challenge spotlighting. So if you guys don't know, every month we have a new art challenge, and this month was let me see, I think it was Joanne who was in charge of it. Was it Joanne? I might be remembering wrong. It is Joanne, yeah. So Joanne posted in our Discord our monthly art challenge, and this month was called Collaboration. So it's mostly just to focus on colors and the festivities that come in the summer. So it's really kind of like a way to just draw anything super colorful and bright and kind of festive looking. So yeah, that's kind of the challenge for this month, the month of July. You know, it works when I see it as a word, and then when I say it, I'm like, color what? Kevin, you spelled color wrong. You spelled it in the wrong way. Okay, so for the shout out, I'm gonna move the move our drawing out of the way, and we're gonna start with this one. This is our first one. We're only gonna shout out 3, so we can jump right back into drawing. This one is by Scream, and this one's really cool. I really love the outfit, the design of it, and you know what? Like, I kind of like this interesting shape cutout of like the dress as well. Like this kind of front chest piece over here, how it kind of sticks out like a covering, it like in a solid shell in a way. It's really cool, and I really love the experimentation with colors too. Very unusual, or not like your usual color selection, which is kind of like the point of this challenge as well. So this was really awesome. I think Scream, you did a great job. Don't know if you're here, but yeah, love the color choices, love the kind of mixing of colors, and it still works in terms of lighting as well, even though none of like the usual typical colors are used. The next one we have is by Bubble Tin. I got this really cool mural looking piece here. Love just like the combination of all these images and everything here. The colors, even though the primary usage of colors is like the green and yellow of like the sunflowers, it works really well in a way that like it helps it stand out. Even though there's a lot of colors, there's definitely like a focus, so I really like that. So yeah, good job, Bubble Tin. And then the next one, this is the last one. So I picked this one because it's not, I feel like, the usual submissions we get, but this is by MC Cactus. I really love like just the shape language, and you know I'm a sucker for shape languages, and I love like angular shapes. So this one was right up my alley of just being a little bit unusual, more angular, a lot of geometric shapes, and really cool placement of colors, and playing around with like how the colors are blocked, but making still everything very clear and legible in a way, but still having that abstract feel. So yeah, this one was really cool. I love this one. So yeah, these are our 3 submissions for, or this is the shout out of our challenge for today, and these are our 3 submissions. So thank you everyone for submitting. We're gonna continue shouting out on like art pieces for this challenge till the end of the month. But yeah, great work everybody. Love all the different kind of styles and different approaches for it. So yeah, and if you want to still submit your pieces, you got a lot of time. You got till the end of July, and yeah, maybe one of your pieces might get a shout out, just like how I gave it a little shout out. So yeah, so we're gonna go back now to our drawing. You know, I'm gonna label it. We're gonna call this I'm gonna call this lesson, even though you know it was a very condensed lesson. I'm gonna call this Disgusted. Can't spell. Disgusted rough. And this one is Aloof rough. And then we got our basic pose. And then we got our OG, the OG pose. Call it that. Okay, I'm gonna move this maybe like down here. Okay, we're gonna start with Aloof. We're now gonna do like a cleanup of Aloof. Should have enough time. Rarely make it this good on time and everything. Pretty surprised myself. Okay, we're gonna call this Aloof Clean. We'll see how clean I can get it. I'm a very line focused person, so I can get stuck on drawing lines forever. But I'm gonna try to keep it. Try to keep it like as quick as possible and not get too caught up on it. So I am changing it now to this brush. It's called Bristles 1 Details. Now this one I didn't adjust. It's kind of just the default brush. But if you zoom in really closely, you'll see that it has almost like a whiteboard marker, kind of a smear texture to it, and I quite like it. So I'm gonna use that. And I've used it once before as well. I've used it actually for this piece. Let me see if I can find the line drawing. I've actually used it for this drawing here. So you see how it's like very smeary, very like rough. But yeah, this is kind of how I like to use this brush. It's meant to be very kind of like frenetic and chaotic and just over the top. So yeah, I'm gonna try to do something kind of similar with Nils over here with the same brush. So yeah, this is kind of scary. yeah, I'm drawing too fast. Wait, what brush am I using? I'm using, it's called Bristles 1 Details. I think it might be in the digit. Is it digital? No. Paint? Is it in paint? No, it's probably an ink then. No, it's not an ink. Where did I get this brush from? You know, I'm just gonna go. I mean, if you go to here, I guess it should tell you. Oh, it's under paint. Oh, okay. Oh, it's like one of the top brushes. Yeah. I only have one folder. I just have my favorites because I don't use that many brushes. So I'm just like, well, you know, just see and just kind of wing it, you know. So I'm gonna just kind of clean it up. I feel like in this one he looks maybe a little bit too old, so I might smoothen out the face a little bit more. Usually with like age, it comes down to the way you depict the cheekbones and the chin. That's how you can make someone look a little bit too old or a little bit too young. So I'm gonna just smoothen it out just a bit. And it's like this part too, like if you have it jut out, it's going to make the person look way older. So I'm not going to do that. Again, I'm kind of using the mirror as a reference. Might have made the eye a bit too close. I don't know. We'll see. So the great thing about like the cleanup part is that you can kind of like hone in and really kind of figure out like what needs adjusting and tweaking. I'm a simple guy. I don't need that many brushes. Exactly. Yeah. Keep it chill. Keep it straightforward and simple. That's how I like to do things. And okay, I think I might have also put the ear a bit too low because I'm looking at the mirror, and then when I like tilt my head up, the ear is definitely like lower, but it's not as low as I made it. And my hair is starting to get like longer again, so it's getting longer, and it's covering my ear. Brush is brush. Yeah, exactly. And you know, like, yes, you can always go and buy like texture brushes from people if you want to, and I think it's like also a great way to support artists as well. If you're like, hey, you know, I like your art brush and I like you, and you know, you sell your brushes, I'm gonna go and support you, buy it. I think that's like a great thing. But if you're like, oh, I don't, you know, I can't spend money on like a brush, I don't want to buy any brushes, then I think it's also okay to rely on just the default brushes. I think there's a lot of great default brushes that people kind of ignore or look past because it's like, oh, it's the default brushes. But you know, if you take the time to kind of explore what brushes are there, there's actually a really great amount of brushes that are totally fine and serve what you need them to do. So you don't need crazy fancy brushes. I really want Terra's oval brush, but I have neither an iPad or Procreate. Yeah, it's same. I feel like a lot of people do make brushes for Procreate, and I also do not have Procreate. And I think I mentioned this before too, like one of my biggest inspirations for line work recently has been Gege Akutami from the creator of Jujutsu Kaisen. And if you ever look at his manga, like the line work there, it's actually so much fun to just look at the way he draws. It's completely, there's almost this like, not that he doesn't care, but it's like, you know, I'm gonna leave this blob of ink, and if it looks a little bit out of place, that's fine. I'm gonna just leave it there. And I kind of love that. It kind of, but it's like precise. Like he's not just drawing it randomly and like, oh, this is here's a line. He is putting it intentionally in like a proper place, and the way he just draws like energy and like the kinetic chaos that's like happening in like fight scenes, or the way people stand and their hands, like the way he draws hands, oh, it's so like, it's so nice. But I just love his artwork. I think it's like super messy but in the right way, and I love that. So I've been really kind of inspired. I've been inspired by the way he draws lines. Domain expansion, nice line. Nice line. Yeah, yeah. He does have some crazy. Yeah. And sometimes it's like not even like the hatching. Like, yeah, he has some hatching, but it's also like the just he like it almost, I don't know if he does it traditionally or digitally, but he leaves like little bits of like the block, like he draws a lot like this, like dot, and then like this, like you see that, and I don't know if he does that like intentionally or anything, but I like it. Looks awesome. And sorry for the zooming in and out. I when I draw, I tend to do a lot of like zooming in and out. Your new name is Wells, Mr. Wells said. He's like, is there some guy called Mr. Oh, Mr. Half said. That's funny. And now it's Mr. Wells said. You have to see that now? Yeah, yeah. Like if you've never seen the original manga art, and actually that's kind of like if you've ever seen season 2, I actually really appreciate what crap, I forgot the studio that animates Mappa, yeah. The studio that works for or does the animation for Jujutsu Kaisen, like I feel like they really tried to actually implement his art style into the animation. Like they did it in the first season. But I think in the second season they really were like, okay, we're gonna really make it like pump up the effects for the way like he draws lines, and we're gonna try to really emulate that in the animation, and I think they did a really good job with it. So if you haven't seen second season they did a real good job with the animation there. Yeah, they really captured his style really well, especially like the final fight. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but like the final fight that was there, I was just like, oh my goodness. Or maybe not the final fight, but like near the final fight. Yeah, that one was really, that was like, oh my goodness, so good. I don't typically watch shows. Oh, I mean that's fine. Yeah, I mean if you want to start on like if you've never watched anime before and you want to watch some like action fighting show, I would recommend Jujutsu Kaisen. I think that's a good show to kind of start off with. Do you think Avatar: The Last Airbender counts as anime or no? Um, I think it counts as a cartoon. Uh, I mean, like you can go either way. Like some people are like, "Oh, it's anime inspired," so, but it's like made in the West, so it's not an anime. But I mean, anime is basically just Japanese cartoon, so I mean, I don't know if that's gonna like ruffle some feathers, but the way I see it is like it's not too big of a deal. But I would consider it more as like cartoon just because it's like, well, it's it's made in the West, or not, it's not made in the West, but it's by people from America, so I would consider a cartoon. Yeah. Technically everything in it. Yeah, it's not, it's a little bit of both in a sense. Excuse me. Oh yeah, I think this looks pretty good. I'm gonna leave it like this for now, and then move on to Aloof, and then we'll do cleanup for Aloof. Once I get them both kind of drawn. I feel like every time I draw him, though, he's supposed to be Swedish, but I keep drawing him Asian. Like, I keep drawing Nils looking Asian, I feel like. Might be the eyebrows. I know, right? He's supposed to be Swedish, but I don't think he doesn't look very Swedish. Oh well. You know what? We don't have time to adjust it, but whatever. It's because we're using me as an inspiration, so he's gonna look like I'm Chinese, so he's probably gonna end up looking a little bit more Chinese. Oops. Okay, gonna move on to Disgusted. I'm gonna try out another brush, see if this one works better. This clean. So the other brush, I know that like Jaw Redstone, you've been like asking what brushes I use. For this new brush I'm using is called Ink Brush, or Ink 7 Brush Rough. So you can see it has a little bit of texture, but not too much. So it mostly comes off like when you look at it, it looks clean. Like it's a like you look at it and it's like, oh, that looks like a normal like synthetic digital brush. But if you zoom in closely and if you like shade with it, it actually has a little bit of texture to it. And so I think it's like the perfect brush if you want a little bit of texture, but not too much texture. So this is the one I'm going to use for Disgusted, and we'll see how it goes. Yeah, because I found like the other one, I think because the drawing itself is too kind of tiny, the other brush didn't really work super well. Not that it wasn't working well, but I felt like it's not suited for how I'm drawing right now. So I'm switching it up to this one. But the style we refer to when we say, yeah, I think like when you say like cartoon and anime, what you're really referring to is kind of like this. Well, if I say it's referring to the style, then technically Avatar would fall under like anime then, because it is anime based in terms of its style. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting discussion. Like it's one of those discussion where it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Like there's no winning or losing in the argument. It's just like a nice, interesting food for thought, pointless debate. It's a pointless debate kind of thing, in my opinion. I think it's a pointless debate, but it's like a fun one to talk about. As soon as I started to explain, oh, that sucks. That's the brush I usually use. Well, I can't spell. Why can't I spell? Oh, yeah, like this one. Yeah, I like this one because it has that digital look to it, but not too much. Yeah. He's from New York, Brooklyn. Yeah, maybe. I mean, he is supposed to be a little bit more edgy, so maybe he's. I mean, he's supposed to be from Toronto, technically. We made him Canadian, but Toronto in the 90s, I guess, definitely not as rough as New York was at the time, but there's some roughness in Toronto. you know, at the time. Funny enough, like people say that we've kind of gone back to that roughness now, um, but yeah, that's something else. Definitely some sketchy places, yeah. Like if I really, really like spent time on like line work and cleanup, we would be here for a few hours because I love just going in on lines. But yeah. Okay, bye not named. Glad you were able to join us. Hopefully you enjoyed the stream. Yeah. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed the stream, feel free to drop a like. Helps a lot. And we will be continuing this series because remember this is an animation series, so right now we're just doing a lot of the character design work, kind of just blocking things out, and then afterwards we're gonna be animating Nils in the storyboard sequence that we did on day 1, I believe, of the series. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun and very stress inducing for me to animate a full sequence or try to animate at least like a rough sequence for whatever we planned out, which was like the grocery haunted convenience store um for Nils to walk through. So it's gonna be fun to see how that turns out. I can spend hours working on cleanup. Yeah, I'm the same too. I have all the patience in the world for line work, but no patience for painting. I think maybe that's why I've been working a lot more paintings lately, just so that I'm like keeping up with my painting skills, because my painting skills definitely I kind of neglect out of like the fundamentals and like the core. You know, like I'm more of like a shape and design and line work person, whereas like I kind of leave out coloring usually. Coloring just takes so much time. Like I don't want to do coloring. Coloring takes up too much time. Line work and painting is the same. Oh, okay. You know what? That's pretty good then. You can kind of just like hone in and just focus on whatever it is that you need to work on then, with no preference for either. Painting just takes a lot of time and like the rendering, and I don't know, I just don't find it as rewarding, I think, for me. Whereas like drawing and like seeing the different shapes and like the cutouts of shapes slowly form as you're drawing, that's what I love. I love that aspect of art. So that's why line work is more my thing. Yeah, exactly. I would not be a line art. I mean, I would not be a color artist. You know, Jesse could be the color artist, and I would do the line work. Yeah. So I have much more experience with shading. Oh yeah, you know what? Maybe what I should say is like it's rendering. I don't care too much about rendering. You know, like I can render, but I wouldn't. It's not like what I love about art. For me, what I like about art is the design and coming up with like interesting shapes to create flow with between like the images. But for me, like shading just takes so much time that that I don't really care too much about. That sounds bad. Like I still love doing it, but if I were to compare the two and say which one I much prefer um, drawing over like rendering. This is just in Josh Hates Art. Surprise, surprise. Actually, I saw an interview one time with someone who I think works in like the film industry in like I can't remember what department. I think it might have been like VFX, and he was like, "Oh, I don't love drawing," and people were like, "What? I'm just really good at it, so I stuck with it." And I was like, "Dang." I feel like most people when they say they got into art, it's because it like stems from passion, and this guy is just like, nah. It's I don't like love it. I don't think he hated it, but he was just like, I don't love it, you know. And I was like, wow, it's that's new. That's different. Yeah, I was just better at it than everybody else was, so I was like, oh yeah, sure, why not? I'll do it. It's like, fine, I'll do it myself. It's like, man, dang, the level of confidence there on that guy. Dang, that's crazy. The sea cucumbers thing? That sounds gnarly. We'll do a little mouth open instead for it, so it has a little bit of like a ooh, like he's gritting his teeth, you know. Like ugh. I feel like this feels more like yeesh, like ooh. Am I using via DoTube? You're talking about the PNG tuber thing? Yeah, I'm using it. Is it working? Did it freeze? Oh yeah, it's working? Okay. Art essential to humanity, and that guy knew. He's like, I'll do it for you guys. Yeah, he sacrificed himself to do art. It's alright, creates majestic masterpiece. Yeah. Is it weird that I already knew that? Did you wait, the sea cucumbers? Oh man, yeah, that's gross. Hello, Vin. Hello. Raise your green bar a little. My green bar? Oh, so it doesn't like just stay open the whole time? Like I feel like I got, well, yeah, you know what, I guess this is better, yeah. Oh, does it? You want it to be more like less sensitive, right? Is that what you want, Kevin? You want it to be less sensitive? Oh, okay. Sure. You have much knowledge about weird things? I'm sure you do. Do I have any weird knowledge about anything? I feel like not off the top of my head. Like the only one that sticks out right now is the one about seahorses. Like when they give birth, they like shoot it out, and there's like a bunch of eggs come out. Like that's the only one I know. But I feel like that's not weird. That's not that odd. Like he was on 8 milligrams of coffee. I mean, I was drinking coffee. I finished my coffee now, but yeah. Okay, so we finished both of them. I feel like it looks pretty good. Might lower this one just a little bit more. Or is it this one? I feel like the eyes just might be a bit too close. I'm gonna space it out a bit more. Squints are tricky too because like sometimes it looks good up close and then you have to zoom it out a little bit to see if the distances actually work or make sense. Oh, whoops. So I'm just gonna widen it a bit more. I feel like those look pretty good. I do think sometimes I'm getting like the age like a bit off. Like sometimes he looks too old, sometimes he looks too young. So I'm gonna just shorten his face length just a little bit on the Aloof one so it looks more in line. Okay, I feel like this looks pretty good. This looks pretty in line. I'm gonna add that, you know, earring because he's edgy like that. Oh, is this the No, I'm not using Rebel. Rebel just takes a lot of power. It's a good software. It just uses a lot of power. It's very demanding on the computer sometimes. So, yeah, I'm not using it. I love it for the character designs because I think I can get like cooler effects with the line work with Rebel, but it's just a little bit tricky. Computer strength, yeah. I know nothing about computers. Yeah, the RAM. Yeah, you know, like all the stuff, you know. Also, butt bounce threats to death. What? Scarring my mind. Oh, you know, the creepiest one is like the frog. You know, the frog that gives birth to its kids on its back. And so, like, a bunch of pores open up. Yeah, that one's the grossest one that I know of. If I were to, like, pick one, that's the weirdest one. It's not like horrifying or anything, but I feel like it's pretty odd. I don't know if people know about that one or which one I'm talking about. I would get Rebel just to try and paint like Gustav. Yeah, I mean that actually like that's kind of what I wanted to try with that software too. Is like get it to kind of do some master studies and see how it looks. Yeah. What is the color code you use? That's definitely Wolverine. Like the color code. I don't know. Let me see. I don't know if this helps, but in terms of like channels, RGB channels, this is what it is. Color name is this one. 222034. I don't know. I don't know if this is what you're asking for, but it's basically just on the ultramarine side, very close to indigo. Well, I guess it's kind of almost indigo, and then it's a desaturated, very dark blue. Is what I'm using now. But yeah, I mean, if anything, you can like I'm gonna post this on our Discord afterwards, and you can like download it and eyedrop it. I mean that's something to do as well that you can try out. What? Oh, Rebel's on sale. Nice. Yeah, I would highly recommend to go check it out because it's a really cool software to just like even experiment and try out. But I will warn you, it is very taxing on your computer. If your computer's not like good enough to handle like maybe even Krita when you're animating, it might not. I don't know. It might have chug a little bit on the all hardware of yours. And then we gotta. So the reason why I'm coloring it black is because in our original design of Nils, or the original design, he had like white. He had like a white front hair. There's like ghosts, you know, some kind of like ghost related reasons. So bringing it back, you know. So nothing crazy. I just want to color in the hair to like block it in and show the. I might not actually add these highlights. I think I'm just gonna color the whole thing in. That's kind of why I didn't put in too much care into like the line in the hair, because I knew that you know, if we had time I would color it in a little bit. Hey, so it's not looking too bad. Yeah, pretty good. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Ray. Thanks for the subscription or subscribing to the channel. Yeah, if you guys want to, you know, we're going to be continuing this series. So if you want to stay up to date with what we're doing, definitely subscribing would be the way to stay up to date with this series. But yeah, thanks for the subscription. Thanks for subscribing. Yeah, we're going to be doing more of these, kind of. Obviously, this is just the character model sheet or the expression sheet to kind of flesh out our character a little bit more. If you ever want to do like more full-on like character animations, it's best to have at least a character model sheet and figure out like who your character is as like a person, and like when they make an expression, don't make it look like every other expression that you do for every character, but instead think of like, okay, if this character was to make an expression, what would it look like? Because everybody acts different, everybody kind of exaggerates their face differently too. So, you know, if one person's happy expression's not going to look exactly the same as another person's happy expression. So you want to make it distinct from one another, and that's kind of where like acting comes in, and why we're kind of dissecting and doing these breakdowns for Nil, so that when we animate him and when I animate him for like the last two parts of it, I know what he looks like. I know how his face might turn when he makes a certain face angle, when he kind of, you know, pushes his face and scrunches it up, like what is that gonna look like? Like I'm kind of in a way creating guidelines for myself of like what it's going to look like. So that's why we do these. And if you want to like learn or dive deeper into this a little bit more, we do have an animation intensive as well. I'm gonna let me look it up. I can kind of show you guys. So if you go to our website and you're like curious about our intensives, you can go to the youth camp over here, and you can go to click to summer intensives, and then all the information will be here. So if you're curious as to like what kind of camps are running, like what intensives, you can check them all out. They're all here. All the information is there, when it's running, how much it costs, and all the different types. So the first one that's coming up for me at least is character design. It's a 2-week program, and so it's starting tomorrow. We are going to be doing stuff very similar to like this, designing a character, learning about face shapes and face structure, and then how to draw different expressions, emotions, and how to design just different types of characters and not just the same ones over and over again. Learn to explore character shapes, shape languages, and push your kind of design structure. So this one's a really good one. We do a lot of different exercises every day to kind of push your limits as to what you can draw and the types of characters you can draw. And then the next one is animation, which is running from July to August 2nd. So again, a 2-week program. So if you want to learn about the basics of animation and do some like big sequences, as you can see over here, day 4 and 5 on week 2, we're going to be trying to test you guys on doing something a little bit more intensive in terms of like the animation sequences. there's that as well. So if you guys are interested, we are doing a lot of different types of intensives. I'm also doing a digital illustration. So if you don't want to do like just character design or just animation, we do have illustration programs that I am leading as well. So I'm also doing a traditional one. So if you guys are interested, check out the website. All the information is there for the intensive. So yeah. It's perfect for portfolio students as well. Yeah. Because, you know, doing it like this, I can only do so much in terms of drawing, but the big part for these intensives as well are the feedbacks. I love giving like big feedbacks, like in-depth feedback for like the students. So if you are like, oh, I want to like update or like know what I need to fix or adjust, then these are great for portfolio students. Or even if you want to like, you're curious about like art and in general you want to like improve your art skills to see if you want to like maybe go into character design or portfolio or art school, this is a great way to like kind of dip your toe into it, because it is open to a lot of different skill levels and different skill types or even styles. So no matter your style or your skill level, I try to cater it so that it matches your like where you are in terms of like your art. You just gotta add a little bit of shadow, nothing too intense, but just enough that it feels like there's something there. And because I'm drawing in a very angular way, I'm gonna also keep the shadows angular, so it sticks with the style consistency. So even though my brush is rounded, I will like kind of erase it so that it has a little bit of edge to the shadow as well. Feels more angular this way. Why I don't do art in Clip Studio? It's just my preferred software. There's nothing wrong with Clip Art or Clip Studio. I've gotten really used to using Krita, but Clip Studio is great too. Like if you like using it, there's nothing wrong with Clip Studio. Yeah, it's just I've gotten really used to the brushes and the shortcuts, the way to control my canvas. I've just gotten really familiar with it on Krita, so I'm just like, you just stick to Krita. Yeah, no real like big reason or anything like that. Yeah, because I know like, well, actually, I think all three of us use different digital painting software, because I think Jessie uses Photoshop, unless she's changed it. But I know she typically sticks with Photoshop. And then I think Iggy uses Clip Studio. Yeah. So it's kind of neat. It's kind of interesting. We all three of us use different painting software. And then of course Faye is more traditional. So she typically if she does the stream, she does it with painting. Good old brush and paints, Oh yeah, Faye. Yeah. Like Faye uses Krita if she's gonna do digital. Yeah. Yeah. Oh okay. Oh yeah, she did a digital. Nice. Yeah, Krita's great. As well. Like I think it's really crazy how much you can do with Krita. Honestly. And like considering the fact that they are free, it's even like even nicer. Oh, we got 10 minutes left. It should be enough to get this all blocked in then. You'll notice that I like to block in my shadows and like sharp shapes as well, and then I'll like just erase it with a sharp, with the eraser to cut it off. And not in a perfect way, but like that's kind of the point. Like I don't want it to be perfect. I want it to be a little bit in a way spontaneous. But yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, guys, join our Discord. It's gonna be posting a lot in there, and that's how you guys can like reach us if you want to like share your artwork with us, if you like follow it along on stream, not necessarily to draw the same character, but if you drew your own character and you want to like show, it's like, hey, this is what I did, like that's a great way to share if you want to. I think this might be all I need to do for Nils. I probably might clean up the, so we don't have enough time to do like these expressions over here, but I will be doing, I'm probably going to clean them up, and maybe I'll post them as well in the chat later on, but I'll definitely be posting this whole image, like this whole entire image, so you can kind of see where we started from, what I adjusted and kind of fixed, and then everything kind of like the notes on how I'm structuring the head. And I'll probably put, I'll put it on the side as well, like the roughs, so you can see them. Maybe I'll just like reorganize it a little bit for now. Let's see, Aloof rough. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there so you can kind of see the original, but we'll make it look smaller, but you can kind of see the underdrawing underneath, so you can kind of see what I've adjusted and changed. And then Disgusted rough, same thing. Just gonna shrink this down, move this over here, so you can see how like I did the rough and then how I've adjusted it afterwards. Oh, I don't want to move it. Running out of space. You see. And I'll just make it a little bit. It's okay. It's just the hair cutting in. It's fine. But you can hopefully, I'm gonna post all of this so you guys can see like where we started and how we're like adjusting everything. Yeah. The cleanup looks more aloof than the rough. Yeah, I think it's because I lowered the eye line as well. So I guess this is like a good way to kind of go over the things that we went over. Oh my goodness. But we started off with the, it's been a pretty good like progression as well. Like if you look over like how we started. So it was looking a little bit too young, the initial version that I did for Nils in the first stream. I think we got the shape language down and the overall outfit and everything. I think it looks good. It's just that his face had a bit too much of like a baby face. But I think there was something there. So I sharpened up the line language, like the shape language, to how I typically draw. And I made him look a little bit more older because he is supposed to be 15. So I think it was okay to age him up a bit. And do more of these neutral poses. So that's why we had the 3/4 profile and front view. So I have an idea as to how he looks like in all these neutral core 3 angles, so that when we draw him on these ones, which break those angles and change his face shape a little bit, it's a bit more like there's something that I can work off of. And then obviously before we started off with the drawing, I went over to the mannequin head and how important it is. So I would highly recommend that if you are trying to draw heads and you're finding that the proportions are off, or when you draw different angles or different expressions that is not quite working, is probably because your structure underneath, your technical knowledge, is lacking a little bit. And I would say go back to the mannequin head. Still, don't try any of these intense angles. Try to do more of like these neutral head angles, but draw like a mannequin head. See if you can dissect it and break it down. And then we went over like structures of the lips so that we can draw like the disgusted look, so we understand how the lips stretch and the shape of them and how it would be. And then we went over and started drawing the heads. So if we look at, actually, I don't even have to do that. I can just zoom in. If you look at it, I used the mannequin head to draw and break down how the character would look. Use the eye masks so I know where the eye is going to be. Use the little plus sign on the side of the head so that I know where the brows are at this head angle and where the shape of the face would be. And I'm obviously also using a mirror so I know roughly what the face shape should look like at that angle, because having reference is really good. Don't try to make it up. Use reference all the time. So this is how we started off, and then this is how I cleaned it up for our so-called final. And then this was did the same thing with the disgusted look, and then this is the cleanup. And I think they both turned out pretty good. So I think this is going to be the end of it. Did a little bit of an overview, so we kind of just run through like how we started and where we are now. But thank you all of you for joining me. It was really great having all of you on, stream, chatting with me, kind of joining us as I kind of draw this our character Nils, and slowly develop him further and further. I think he's really coming along, and I'm kind of excited to see how it'll go when we do the actual animation. It's gonna be interesting. We've got 2 weeks to do it, so yeah, it's gonna be cool. But before I end our stream, again, I'd like to thank our sponsor for this stream, XP Pen, who have an awesome selection of digital art tablets for both beginner and advanced artists. So if you're looking for an affordable and reliable digital tablet, go browse their store. You'll find the link in the description of this video. So once again, thank you XP Pen for sponsoring our stream. And again, would like to mention that if we're not just a YouTube channel here, if it's your first time watching us, welcome to our Wing Canvas stream. But we don't just make YouTube channels, we are also a school. So if you want to, level up your art skills, learn a bit more about how to draw figures or faces, or draw in an anime and cartooning style, definitely check out our website. We got a lot of different classes there with a bunch of different teachers. You'll probably already know most of them. I teach animation and drawing and painting. Faye teaches also drawing and painting and has a little specialization in figure drawing as well. So she has an art intensive for figure drawing. And obviously, like, Jesse's illustration, digital, and Iggy is anime and cartooning. So if any of these classes sound interesting, definitely check out our website. We have a lot of different offerings. Some of the schedules have changed a little bit just due to the start of the summer term, but definitely check it out. And our website is also where you can check out our summer intensives. And if you want to support us further, you can definitely support us on Patreon as well. For as low as $2 a month, you get access to the members only Discord channel, and you'll get to talk to a lot of awesome people in our community. And you might also even get some feedback from us. Unfortunately, I think it's changed now, the little special offering that we had, where it's like anybody who signed up for Patreon gets a live critique. I don't believe we're doing that anymore. Kevin could correct me on that if that's not true, but yeah, we do these live critiques every week. There is every kind of instructor is in charge of a different day, so the schedule is different, but every week there's one instructor who will go on live and provide feedback to anybody who puts their work up. And you get to talk with us, you get to hang out with us, and take a look as to get just some live feedback for your work, which is probably the best way of getting feedback, because you get to go back and forth and discuss like what's working, what's not working, what your intentions are, and you get to clearly explain like what you're trying to aim for, rather than getting maybe like a one sentence explanation of like, oh, change the arm. It's like, oh, but what do you mean by changing the arm? So doing it live is probably the best way of getting feedback, and this is one way that you can get live feedback from us. Yeah, and we also have social media, so Discord, Instagram, Facebook. I will be posting these drawings, or this drawing itself, on Discord first. So if you want to have a first glimpse, it's going to be on Discord. So definitely sign up for Discord. That's kind of like the best way to keep up with announcements, the art challenges, and also keep in touch with the art community that we have on Discord itself. So yeah, and then afterwards it will be posted on like Instagram and Facebook and everything like that. So thank you everybody for joining me on stream. That's gonna be kind of it. If you like this video, if you like the stream, definitely like it. Subscribe to our channel. This way you'll be up to date on all our future videos that we post, as well as all the future streams, so you know which one's coming up and you can kind of be notified by it ahead of time. Yeah. And if you become a VIP, you get access to the live critiques. Oh, okay. So $2 is for asynchronous, which means you don't get access to the live calls, but VIP and above, you'll be able to hop onto the actual voice chat and talk with us and hang out with us. And who knows, maybe sometimes I might drop in randomly and just hang out with you guys on Discord and just be painting. I did that one time. That was really cool. It was cool to meet the community there and see what other people are doing, because other people are painting and sharing their screen, and they were like, oh, what are you drawing, Josh? And I started sharing my screen, and it was all like just cool, nice, chill time to hang out with everyone. So yeah. But thank you all for joining my stream. I'm gonna leave my screen on for just a little bit longer, and then I'm gonna end stream. So yeah, thank you for joining everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream, and you know, maybe hopefully you'll learn something as well. But bye. Thank you guys, everybody. Thank you guys, everybody. Oh my goodness. Thank you everyone for coming. Bye. See you.